success was a that's what I just a solid way, Jame way. That's what I got a solid way, man. Jame sua, can a success, Jame sua. That's what I just a solid way, Jame way. That's what I success, solid way, man. Na ya kandia ka pota ya kaya mekano eye agia aote kamesua kawa la sonsa ya bere yo kaka sia ayibata ka pota ya kaya ya kaya so me ya kandia dame ya siatila yepana wapana ya eteblu nango yepana.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Alfonso Zayensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome you to this editions of All Things Considered, coming your way live from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. Today, my special guest is Ysyndi Martin Kpeyei, one of the strong voices here in the diaspora. The campaign is on, and we're going to be discussing a wide range of issues here, what she makes of the process should this election goes ahead as scheduled. Stay tuned. She's standing by. I'm going to be bringing her in very shortly. This is our own way of welcoming, taking her to our own county here, Nima County. I want to take her to Nima. I wish she was in Nima County to conduct this interview. Now we're understanding, folks, we want to welcome you. We are always here to seek answers, to have our conversations on the prevailing situations and get exactly what is unfolding, people's views and opinion in a very honest and candid fashion for the sake of the country. So I want to welcome you. Let me see here. My guest is standing by here to a little bit behind time here. Let me see. I'm going to be bringing you in. Stay tuned. I'm Alfonso Zayensot of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Happening now is the host of Second Thoughts Liberia, joining me here on the Liberia Public Radio. I'm Alfonso Zayensot. Okay, we'll say welcome. Let me bring this lady here, all set here, here on the diaspora. There you go. I told you she's already here, smiling. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Mr. Sir, from my end. Lawrenceville, Georgia. It's an honor to be here. And it's actually an honor to be back. And I'm humbled to still be here among the living. So it's an honor to be here. But before I say anything else, let me make a disclaimer. I am not here to represent any political party. I'm here to represent my own voice as a human rights defender and as an advocate, however you might want to call me, and the host of Second Thought Africa. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. You are grounded so much in this political correctness, so quick. You get into you don't want to be held responsible. All right, yeah, thank you so much here. I have received numerous of calls. This lady, she doesn't get tired. What is her result? What is she's taking to stimulate her to keep talking, doing what she's talking? I don't need an introduction to you. You have your huge audience. There's no one that here in the diaspora out to say that the name Ysyndi is not known. Let's get the ball rolling. Time is fast spent here. It's 1:08 Eastern Standard Time here. Let's start this here. Second thought, how you came with this program? Second thought, what are you?
It is in Africa, where according to history, we invented all of these things, from the things in Egypt to the pyramid, which is advanced engineering and architecture. And for us to have come and become literally second or third class citizen, I thought, what would be our second thought in the 22nd century? Okay, how do we inspire, how do we engender new idea on the continent? That's how I came out with that. How do we do things differently and leave Africa as a continent, or the world as a whole, better for our children, for our little girls, for our boys? And what kind of legacy do we want to leave? That's how I came up with that. How do we engender new, mindset per se?
Wow. How that thought process came into being? Who initiated that? You see it applicable to the scenarios and what is unfolding in Liberia, correct?
Not just Liberia, Africa as a continent as a whole. Growing up, and I always tell her, and I'll be really short about that, my mother always said to us, when a girl is beautiful, because boys by nature, or according to culture, they were going to be successful, they were going to go to school, they were going to decide their path. But my mother always taught us, especially me as the older girl, that when a woman is beautiful and she's smart and she's bold and find her own path, okay, the world is hard to conquer. So I learned from that. But for me to go back to my childhood, like your childhood, in the 80s up to the 90s, and the bottom came up in Liberia, not only Liberia, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and literally the continent became chaotic. You go to the Darfur, Sudan, and all of those places, even South Africa. All right. And I said, so, well, how do we change our environment? How do we think differently? What was the thought process of our forefather? What was the thought process of your father and his father? What kind of environment do we want to leave for our children? So it's not just, my thought does not only limit itself to Liberia. I look at the continent. Because
there was a sort of holistic approach.
Because even me being here in America, if somebody sees me, until I speak, I'm Black to the white man, okay? Then my accent will come and somebody say, okay, what country are you from? So we have to look at we have to look at things holistically. So I think that's what my thought is to be inclusive. I want the children from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Ivory Coast, from Liberia, from Sierra Leone, from South Africa. For when we see ourselves, when I see me, I should see myself in any other Black person in the world. That's the thought process.
Okay, wow. That was a very calculative mind to really put the brain to work and to initiate it. It fits the scenario, the situation we are faced with today. Wow, I'm a little bit jealous of that name. I've been wondering, how did she kind of develop this here second thought? Yeah, okay. Let's get to the issue, and you have made a full declaration, which is good, but you have a very strong voice. You get a very strong audience that you appeal to. Let's see what I'm going to drag you into that, but you are a very smart person here. I'm quite sure you're going to loosen yourself up here. But you're said, interestingly, here, before we serve our country, this is where we are, and we have to find security here. Your city is the front lines of the political systems or political process in the country right now, calling for recount and all of that, and that will determine the majority or the control of the upper house of government. That's quite fascinating.
So I'm not alarmed per se, because since I've been in this country, literally my early 20s, I've been involved into the political system, because I think it's the way to shift the future. So from the Doe and the Clinton to the Bush to the Obama, which I played a very major role from my end, about knocking on door, using my time months and months. I'm not alarmed that that is not. I think we've come a long way in America. You know, I had a conversation with a young girl yesterday who said, I don't like Kamala and I don't like Biden. Biden did this, Biden did that. We are people of our time. I tell people change makers are not born during their generation. They're born the generation before. And majority of change makers don't get to see the next generation. They are way ahead because their minds are open to things that does not exist for now. Okay. I know, like you said, people called. When I first started advocating, this is way back, I'm like 13 years old. And people thought I like fighting. I like flower. I like even in high school. I didn't say much, but I fought. And as literal as I was, physically fight. I would fight for my friends. Those who know me, like Miara Pain, they would tell you, I didn't say much. But if there was injustice, I stood up in the yard where men were literally supreme. I stood up against my uncles. Sometimes I got beat up.
That's part of your DNA, from what I'm saying here. As far to still be actively involved like that, that's part of what you're doing from time to time.
So talking about Georgia, so I think we're going to do well. I think we're going to win a seat. You know, during the campaign, I went and did. We were elected second place. I'm from Gwinnett County, and people started. They're coming on Facebook. Ysyndi, if Georgia does not turn blue, in fact, you will not have no bragging right. You're in Gwinnett has not turned. Liz Chala Kante has turned. And people started inboxing me. I said, I'm going to sleep. We're going to win this election. And in fact, when I woke up this morning, if you look on my wall, just for statistical analysis, you look at the data, you look at the shift that's taking place over the years, okay? We believe Trump was actually a payback for when the white men were not ready for a black man per se. That's what we were told, that the America was not ready for another 200 years for a black man. All right. So we got a black man, but we got a black man of great intelligence with great character, you know, an unimpeachable character per se. But when people see us, they see us, but it's shifting. The population is growing. And one of the things that gave me solace was during the Floyd protest. I went downtown, Lawrenceville, and the kids were there protesting. So the mic was given to me by my state representative to speak. And the only thing that the Lord brought to my mind was, it was mostly white kids. You would not believe it. Young white kids, college kids, high school kids, middle school kids. And when they were getting really angry, my thought was, listen, you have to stop and calm down. I know you're angry, but here's what needs to happen. You must first organize, strategize, and act. So we took on to that word that we were going to organize ourselves, we were going to strategize, and we were going to act. How do we change our environment? We change it by voting. The reason why when people come to power, they pay attention to setting a demographic is because of their actions. If they are not in power, they will not have power to make the laws or policies. So your goal is to either kick them out or keep those that are good there. And when you do that and they see that you're not going to take any bull moving forward, that their jobs will be at risk, they will make the necessary decision to not just impact your environment, but to impact your lives or that particular demographic, or holistically impact the whole nation. And so I wasn't scared per se. I did my part. We did our part in the community mind. My state representative is a powerful, powerful woman to reckon with. Her name is Donna McLeod. And in fact, you saw some really powerful black women, okay, in our campaign in Georgia. Stacy, we stood out for her 2 years ago. 4 years ago, we were out here. She brought it home. She did not get any rest. Donna McLeod, Caroline, I mean, not just black women. The women in Georgia show up and they show down. I went out for my 13-year-old daughter, who was out protesting with me. I went out for my 19-year-old daughter. I went out for my 35-year-old daughter, my 26-year-old son, for my brother, for somebody like you, Alfonso. A brown man. I'm a daughter of a brown man. I am a daughter of a brown woman.
Okay.
And that's why.
All right. So we're gonna shift gear now because it's gonna be unfair here with all of this political cloudness unfolding right here. We don't talk about it, and your city being in the centerpiece of the democratic process here, it's just going to be unjust to our listening audience and to the play. So we are about to transition now, and I'm let's see here what's going to happen. Okay, my understanding, the 2020 May 10 senatorial process has officially kicked off. Campaigns have started now, and you've been actively, directly, indirectly, very loud voice on tyrant into this process here. So let me ask you first and foremost, your own opinion here. Do you see the process in Liberia transparent, open, that indeed if you have made a choice for your candidate, for the candidate to participate into the process, the 2020 May 10 senatorial election? Yeah.
When it comes to, let me just make this disclaimer too. When it comes to question answering, I'm a Republican. I need people to know that. Normally, I'm an independent. So I like to give paint a picture. I don't think at this point the process is ready. If we were in really a transparent, incredible environment, number one, here is why. In 2017, after the elections, the Liberian government at the time were asked to clean the voter list.
Right, voter roll.
But and in fact, the international community recommended that the election should be rerun. We never did that. People got angry. People got in the street. People said their rate were going up. They were suffering too much. So they should go ahead and have the election. Although they knew that there was flaw. They knew that the process was not transparent. They knew that they were redundant. The data did not have any security. Yes, I can speak to data structure because those of you who know, my background is in my earlier background is in computer science and telecommunication. Not really, but electronic telecommunication focuses on computer science, and I did some data analyzing. So the data did not have structure. Number one, it did not have, because early on when you create data, it needs to have integrity, okay? For instance, you and I live in America. When they pour Afanso soul, I'm sure there are lots of Afanso soul, but there's something that they don't have. They don't have your social security number. Only you have that, okay? Yeah. That's a primary information that is only attached to you. So if you have an account in Liberia in a database system, we have common names. There are a lot of Ya in Nima County. There are a lot of Kou in Nima County. So you got 10, 20 Kou. We don't know which Kou were voting. Okay. Up to today's date, it has not been clean. Two, we also understood this government, people were tracking. Okay, we saw people who moved all the way into Kpeyei to the point that one of them ran away into Sierra Leone. And we saw also in Bobalu and bombing where people were tracking people got hurt and all of these things. So if you ask me, I do not trust the system, but I am at this point, and we have not done enough educating, okay, for people to understand the rights and responsibility and why they are voting, the essence of voting, especially when we have predominantly illiterate people. When I say illiterate, not to say that you need a degree to be able to, but people who can read at least at 6th grade level, or people who we have maybe translated our laws, election laws, into the different dialects, that they understand that literacy simply means you can read and write, whether it is in Mano, whether it's in Gio, whether it's in Pele. I remember when we were growing up, the Liberian government in the late 70s were trying to make Pele as a national or second language. We didn't graduate to that. Like in Ghana, they have 3. Okay, we didn't graduate to that. So why were people voting? And then, so I don't think we are, but such is where we are. We must, ready or not, we must get in the ring and fight for our lives. That's how I see it.
Okay, so let me ask this question. It's good that you have made that declaration. I haven't heard that myself. I like to get it directly from the horse's mouth. Yeah, have you declared or established your political identity in terms of which party you are now officially officiating with? Have you done that?
So let me give you some a picture of where I am. I really, from the beginning of time, never really.
I don't want political correctness. I don't want.
No. I'm not being politically correct. I like for people to understand, because the thing is, I don't like bundle. When you do bundle, it's not understood. Okay. I supported UP for years, and I even supported UP in the last election. I support people based on what they bring to the table. Okay, so literally, I'm kind of sort of independent. To date, I support ANC Global as of 2019, June 28th. Okay, and here is what my job with Global is: to help raise funds to be able to help our people on the ground. Am I a member on the ground running up and down? No. Okay, I also support LP, and I support Abraham directly. You guys know from the onset, I have been here, okay? And there are a few people that I'm looking at and I'm going to support, because here it is. As an advocate, as a justice defender, I cannot say I'm for this party. So even if you bring dog, I'm to support them. No, I will support people based on character and intelligence.
Okay, yeah, let me hold you there. Quite fascinating. You support ANC Global. I had a chance to interview the chairperson.
The chairperson, that is my illustrious chairman. Yes.
So is the ANC Global, which is embedded into ANC, quote unquote, their political leader Alexander Kpeyei? Are they cementing the political elevations of Alexander Kpeyei, of which you are supporting? Correct.
What was that? What was the question, please?
My question is, ANC Global, whether it is a subset of ANC, and it is a key structure because they are responsible for fundraising for the political elevation.
It's like a pact. It's like a pact.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, for Alexander Kpeyei. So my question is, are your advocacies directed in the support of Alexander Kpeyei? Because Global is in support of Alexander Kpeyei, correct?
Quite frankly, there's no question about that. There's no reservation about that. I support Alexander Kpeyei. You know, I support him based on what he brings to the table. People must understand in advocacy, okay? Advocacy, you are looking for means to change. And there is no way on earth that you're going to change Liberia thinking we're standing on the sidewalk and yelling. You're going to change Liberia by electing the right people that will impact policies, that will impact the lives of the people.
So how can you transition from UP, I believe, which is a unity party?
Well, I supported individuals in the UP, not a party, okay? I supported, for instance, when Bwaka was running, I supported him after the first round. Before Alexander Kpeyei came into the being, when Bwaka and Ellen were together, every time he came to Georgia, we entertained him, we hosted him, we have stayed dinner or lunch for him. And as a sitting vice president, even now, I respect him for the man that he is, okay? And I'm going to leave it as that. But I do, like I said, I have an independent mind, because I particularly align with a political party or a pact. It does not necessarily mean I will go, like they say in CDC, even if we put dog on the ticket, vote for the dog. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So I will choose as to who I support.
Yeah. Independent people, they are open-minded people, which of course, almost like in the form of octopus, they support here and there. Is your support for Ambassador Bwaka, is it still alive and well?
I would pray at this point, and I think if I can get the link to share, because people are inboxing me about the link, please. Let me say this thing, because I'm somebody who I'm culturally grounded. I have respect for the old man. But if you ask me at this point, I think it's now time for him to be a kingmaker. He has paid his dues. He should rest. And that's the thing with us.
Meaning?
we get to a certain place, we
Yeah.
need to open
Yeah.
the room
Yeah.
for other people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't if I mean, we don't know what tomorrow holds, but at this point, if he did, I'm not sure if I will. I'm going to be honest, because number one, for you to lead, you need energy. Liberia is a very tumultuous country. You need lots of energy. You need to keep your eyes open. You need to stay on people's back. You need to discipline people. Actions should have consequences. When you get to a point that you get to a certain age, those things, that for me, I'm in my 50s. What I did with my 35-year-old,
So
I can't do it with my 14. Huh?
okay, let's put a nail on the head. To be a kingmaker. A kingmaker, more or less, is the guy who might sit under the palm tree and settle the score when there are big differences and say, "Hey, come! I am the chief in the town. I'm here to settle the deal." So what I try to sense out here now, Ambassador Boycott does not have that political strength that he used to be. So he must step aside from being the maybe potential candidate to contest the presidency 2023, correct? Is that what you're driving to?
That is exactly, I mean, that's a suggestion, but in the final analysis, he have to make that decision. He have to make that decision with his family. You have to make that decision with his political party. How does his presidency impact Liberia? Does he have the energy to do that? From my vantage point, okay, and where we are as a nation, how much damage have been done to our nation? This is mind, ethical, and analysis, and just looking and think holistically.
So
Yes.
who the cat fits now, the political cat for 2023? Elizana Kumis?
Now you see, this is where I didn't want to go, because Alfonso, there are a lot of things, because your hour is almost out. So I would like to redirect and talk about the environment, the threatening environment in Liberia, the killing of our people, the kidnapping, the inability for the Senate Judicial Committee to act, the inability for the Finance and Budget Committee to act, the inability, okay, for the Ethical Committee to act, or the inability for the lawmaker to respond to the need of the people who send them to the house. And they keep shifting blames. Those are the things, these are pressing issues. 2023 is really far. If you ask me about Alexander Cummings, and I don't bite my tongue about that. I think he is the opportunity that Liberia needs to seize. Okay? When I was in Liberia in 2017, a lot of people said they knew about him, they heard of him, but he came a little too late and would give Kpeyei a chance. But in the next, if Kpeyei did not make it, they were going to support him if he made it to the second round. If not, in the next coming election, they were going to support him. So my words still stand. And when he did not make it to the second round, I went to Boycott and supported him. And let me tell you, from my analysis, with the analogy that I made the night of the election when I campaigned before, I said you have a plane that is going to crash regardless. But here it is, you have a choice to either crash it into Mount Everest, or you have a choice to crash it into the ocean. Here is why. If you crash it into the ocean, you will have a fighting chance. There are life jackets, there are floating equipment that will give you an opportunity to stay alive. But if you crash it into Mount Everest, the ability for survivorship is very slim.
We're not even got a debris. Okay, so then let's go back to the most recent one that is at hand, 2020. I'm troubled. I'm worried. And I've said it repeatedly on my programs, whether the government, the opposition, are yet to see authentic, genuine politicians. All of these people, they are just in it for themselves. They come and say when they get there, that's a different sense of direction. You support Abraham Darius Dillon. Do you think Senator Darius Dillon, do you think he's building the consensus? Because what is all about the House is to build a consensus. And part of that legacy is what you're going to put in place. But the name callings is on both sides. It does not help the problem. Do you talk to him on that at times?
To some degree. I think literally when Darius DeLon took over, it was also time for campaign. So literally from last July, August, September, and we are already being up for elections, right? So it's let me say this to the Liberian people. I know you asked a question, is he building the consensus? We have a saying, and I will say this to people. That's a saying that we say in Nimakane. It goes to Clodo de Plamo Zrupufim. One grasshopper, no matter how big it is, the likelihood that it will survive a million ants is impossible. Now, here's my point. Darius DeLon is like a one person. You know, I hear everybody running. Let's support that. We must. But at the same time, we must support other people with like minds that will help him, or else eventually he's going to get exhausted. Those are the facts. A lot of people don't want to hear it, because the reason being, in our community, when our minds are made up, we don't make any adjustment. We don't leave room for adjustment. We don't create options. So we put that one person there, and when the person get adjusted, or they can no longer carry on, and we say they betrayed us. Okay, Darius DeLon need whether Darius DeLon or Darius DeLon need other people who think the way he thinks, who understands that the people send him to represent them for them to be successful. You cannot, even the Bible says that, Mr. Soul, two cannot work together unless they agree. So how can you build consensus with people? For instance, Kabina Jana issue. I personally talked to Prince Johnson. He gave me his word that he was not going to vote against him. The man that was on your show the other day, I tried to reach out to him, who was telling you when he wins, then he will come by and call the people in the diaspora. But for 9 years, he was there. The road to his town, there's no road. Everything is broken. We call all of these people. They went one night after they received brown bag and said after all they need to run their elections, okay, they voted against him. So Darius DeLon can build consensus. But what happens when you wake up in the morning, people who have more interest in sending their girlfriend to Dubai, taking a flight to Ghana for medical help instead of putting equipment that we call them less into JFK, instead of supporting the education endeavor in the country that will have qualified people to compete with the region. How do you build consensus with these people where we tell you yes in the daytime and you wake up in the morning and you see different news? We saw that. We saw that during Kabina Jana impeachment. We saw that when, what's his name? Vonnie Sherman.
So, yeah.
Yes.
For God's sake, there are 103 men and women in both houses of government. So my concern, and then this is a traveling news, and I agree, most of your argument, these are things that are happening, but it's all about what would be his legacy for us to reflect on tomorrow. And I'm just not only talking about him, because the reasons all of the pressure is mounting on him, because he's from the opposition side and he's trying to take a major position, which he did in the past. And that goes to even the Toma Fala and all of those people. I think they should find time to have conversation after Chambers and see. I am disappointed, and I was disappointed. All of the killings that went on, I did not see a special section being arranged by both houses of government to say, hey, this is about Liberia. I disagree. I don't want you to be senator. T5, T10, I don't want you to be senator. But citizens of the country are being hurt. The country is bleeding. We need to do something here. That has not happened.
Okay, and I think earlier on, before we came into the Darius DeLon and all of that, I said I wanted to talk about the killing. I wanted to talk about the kidnapping. I wanted to talk about the Judicial Committee. I wanted to talk about the Budget Committee. I wanted to talk about the Ethics Committee. Number one, let's start with the Ethics Committee. Okay, you have an Ethics Committee. You have a president who literally is abusing his office, who is molesting girls, okay? And they are not calling him to bed to ask him. This is the highest office in the land, okay? Now, these people called...
Molesting, do you want to be a little bit specific?
Okay, so when Eugene Falcon and Snow had the fallout. The Senate called them, or the House called them, okay? But last month, we heard some young girls who are in positions in the government, political appointees, okay, accusing each other. Who slept with who slept with that, okay, what the president did. Then we graduated beforehand, the political, the party chairman, Mobile Malu, and they came back and told us it was liquor talk. Not only that, then the vice president came on Spoon TV and accused the president of sodomizing people and harassing people, sodomy for job. Those are her words, they were not mine. I'm yet to see the ethics committee kind of call. They represent 5 million people, all 103 of them. The president is answerable. That's the only group that the president is answerable to. And the next person is not even the chief justice. It is the, what do you call it, the minister of justice. Okay, those are the two groups. We're yet to hear anything. Now, yesterday and today, there's a video going around of the president sodomizing one of his political appointees' wife. Okay, not only this is listen, this is a disgrace for our nation. This is a and then not only that. 2 months ago, the president declared state of emergency. A state of emergency. If you know, Mr. Saul, I never said a word. People were joyous, people were jumpy. Some people, I've done this for a very long time. I've done this for 37 years, okay? And I try, when people talk, I try to listen, not what they're saying, but what they're not saying. We call that critical thinking, okay? You see, in communication, you got verbal and non-verbal, all right? Like me, I talk with my hands. I got to remember or remind myself if I'm among certain group of people.
You are
not to say.
You are action-oriented.
Yes, okay? Like if I'm in a place I don't want to talk, I make it a conscious decision and I have to remind myself to put my hand behind my back, not put it on my side because it speaks different, it communicates otherwise, or for my hand, it says something. So we're yet to hear the what do you call it, the ethics committee. To date, we have 3 young Liberians in their 20s and their 30s that have been gone missing for 4 weeks, literally, and the government had done nothing. You have a man by the name of Moses who is functioning in Liberia, who called these children and sent them on the job, and they have not been seen since.
Yeah. Okay, there are a lot of things that we are putting in the basket of deplorable. Now let's try and sort them out here a little bit.
Okay,
quite true, because I too have issue, especially the words that came out of the mouth of the chairman of the ruling party. It must be taken into concern seriously. I'm not talking about all of these things. I am not saying things that are happening on the social network are not important, but what that we can count on and hold people up is, for example, Moluba Molu, who is for some reason I can't, almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I can't get a share button. I don't know why it's like that.
Yeah, I can't even see it for me to be able to share, not even on your page. So it's hard for me to get people on. So I don't even know where we are.
It's on Liberia Public Radio.
I am on Liberia Public Radio, but I see other people are there, not you.
Yeah, I don't know if I can for some reason there was share button.
Just copy and inbox it to me. Go to the top part of your show where you got the 3 dots right there. The 3 dots, copy and share it for me.
That's what I try to do here now.
Yeah.
Everything for some reason okay. It's not even showing no share button. But
yeah, I don't see you show at all.
Reason I don't know. Hold on now. Okay, let me see this here. Okay. Share now. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I was I don't know whether they call it the chairman of the party, and they said that was a liquor store. And this is the broken system. Yeah, okay, I think I'm sending it to you now. I'm sending it to
Okay.
your inbox. Now, this is the broken system. This is where my disappointment. Nobody called the party chairman. He was not held accountable, and I was also disappointed. Somebody to. I am not happy. I do not agree with the president 100% on things, but regardless of what the situation, he's the president. I won't have nobody to say those kind of terrible things about the president, and he's still there as the party chairman. That itself it speaks volume. But relative to what is ongoing here, is it fair that we really bring into indictment the president? Where is the Minister of Justice, the Chief of Police? Where are the advocacy group in Liberia? That's what I question the authenticity of these people, because these are the people we're supposed to hold these people and say, hey, stand up to them. There is something called police and community relationship. I don't see that existing. And that's what I call Moses Carter here, Director Carter, but he here to show up. I want to know whether that is existing. But apparently that is not the case. And I think we must hold Director Sudus and the Minister of Justice, Attorney General, who is the sole chief security of the country, to see what is happening. It brings into mind that we have two republics in Liberia, where there's one governing some part of Bon County, where it's alleged that there are citizens being held hostage. That's not Boko Haram group there. So why should that be, first of all, to be taking place?
So what it speaks to is that literally there's no government, right? Because the essence of your government is to protect every citizen. Okay.
I think that statement would be way over the top to say there is
no. Let me say this to you, Mr. Soul. In this country that give me a second chance, call America. There were people in this country who said before me, okay, give me freedom or give me death. Because if that's all I have, how in heaven the citizen of a country disappear? And when somebody who is in charge, besides, Moses was caught at the border of Sierra Leone escaping. Moses called, the recordings are there, begging the family of the children that he would do anything for them if they wanted to. But when the people went out to protest, they are brutalized, they are intimidated, they are pepper gas, some of them are dragged to jail. But Moses is walking around and interviewing. What nation that is a sovereign nation, or like you rightfully said, two republic? So I'm saying exactly what you said. You said two republic. Okay, the Republic of CDC and the Republic of the rest of Liberians, okay, where the rest of their life does not matter. Mr. Soul, we saw 4 brilliant Liberians that the last government invested in, took out of the country, got training to come back and give to the country, brutally murdered, okay, to death. There no answer. I saw a man whose hair was cut up. Let me tell you something. Send the inbox me that. I saw that during the war. I saw women stomach being open during the war. I held people intestine in my hand to keep them alive. These are truths. My mother can testify to it. Yes.
So then, will you agree with me? Yeah. And I've
yes.
said this, and let me just repeat this. And the things you are saying is true. People have been murdered. So there are a lot of unanswered questions. So we need more answers than even the question. Then I'm wondering whether we have political institutions. I see them as social club, because these are people who are seeking. I'm going to give you a fair share. These are people that are seeking for state power, and they are not showing any sign they are not showing any strength to stand up for the very citizens that they want to govern. In the midst of the disappearance, the summary killings of people, these politicians, these people that want to be senator, they're all over the place. They are campaigning. They are not even holding the very government that they work for. They are unable to hold the government accountable. Why should we take these people serious?
So let me say this to you. There is a misplaced responsibility here. There's one government at a time, especially for where we've been, okay? Let me say to all of us, and I hear this a lot, all right? I live in America. I help elect senator and representative. They are answerable to me. If not the one in my community, we have the most diverse, Mr. So, we have the most diverse candidate you heard John Officer say in the whole of Georgia. Majority of the refugees that came from Somalia, from Boston, and all of those places in Liberia, they settled in my county. And we have grown exponentially over the years. And our children are 20 and 30 and they can vote. Here it is. When you can get in this, even you who in America, the opposition is the opposition that's in the Congress. It's not the political party herself. What do you do when you have people who use political party name to come to power, okay? But they do not adhere to the party moral or organizational structure.
Now you let the cat out of the bag. So why now these political institutions denounce these people? They consistently and they continue to hang up with these people. They still see them to be the face or the representation of the party. Then who would?
Well, here it is, Mr. So. This is where you and myself come in, okay? This is because, you see, as an informed citizen who makes it my duty, okay, or make it my duty to educate myself on consequences and matters of the future and the now, okay? Because what our government has done, if you look in our Constitution, Article 6 mandate education as a right. It's the constitutional right. And we have failed to do that. I still here in Nima County, in Bon County, in Grand Jida County, you cannot challenge a government, which is a lie. Okay? The government works for you. If the government is not working for you, you must challenge the government. Until our people come to those terms and understand that these people are answerable to them. I don't think they should be on anybody's ticket. Let me tell you something. I posted yesterday about Emmanuel Nukwe. Little kids came on my post to insult me. Some of them threatened me. I don't care whose friend with Emmanuel Nukwe. Okay? I remember Emmanuel Nukwe threatening the Liberian Republic. If it take 1 year, 12 months, if it take 3 years, they think we owe them our job. When they come, we will deal with them. He said a lot more things. You know, they went back and took it down. But I do have a screenshot of all of those things. I keep them, okay? Like today, we're talking about Boima and V. Boima. These are young people who insult people for position because in Liberia, actions have no consequences. We need people who will draw the line. UP has the most representation in in the Senate. They are not doing their job. But people anticipate that Euro will get in the street and protest for them. People anticipate that Bwaka will get in the street and protest for them. People anticipate that Alexander Cummings need to get in the street and protest for them. No. Okay, here's what I say. There were 21 people on that ballot. And they presented their ideas. Some even went to debate to tell you this is what I bring and I offer you. They rejected that. We, the citizens, let me tell you something. Master representatives were not in the street first. They were in the street in Minnesota first for Florida. Our children got in the street, and we as parents, we follow.
Are we creating an education in love? And let me just ask you, I'm not sure whether you have been confronted with this question here. People said you are very aggressive. You divisive. They have their own weight. Instead of being a little bit persuasive to moderate your tone, to see your tone that is over the bar, so it scares people away. Which also say, wait a minute, the child is not even born. When this child is born, what's going to happen? So it is an indirect connection that they are making to where, they are friends to Alexander Cummings. So when Cummings become president, they're going to be the same old path. Are you persuasive? Are you aggressive? What is your true representation?
I'm assertive. I am confident and assertive. Let me tell you something. We come from a patriarchal society where men dominate, where men are not used to, even women are not used to.
Aggressively to criticize the opposition when it does it wrong.
No. But here it is though. Here it is. When and I think this is they talk about ANC, okay? You have never heard me. I don't insult nobody. I've always spoken to the issues.
Policy.
Okay?
Yeah.
And anyone who knows me, I do not. No disrespect to those who choose other words to express themselves. Okay? It's a republic, it's democracy. If words are made, it is their choice to use it. I wouldn't use it, I wouldn't encourage it, but that's me. Okay? That is me. But here it is. When we started out, okay, they said, and they still ANC was weak when we thought we'd be civil. And, you know, we'll bring what we've learned. Okay. Then people started bullying. You know, the thing is, you cannot be situational. Most Liberians are situational. Okay. They have one or two people that they worship, that they like. So long they don't like. Look, so let me tell you something. If in the Liberian community they don't like you, or somebody that they worship they don't like, there's nothing that you will say that will make them change. They will paint you black and blue anyway. But somebody I can get it if they like me at the time, because maybe I'm supporting somebody they like. I can curse you. They will support me. They will give me money. They will not care how I talk because I'm talking to you. Okay? We cannot live like that. You see, during the campaign, the first round, I never supported Bwaka, but I chose my words wisely. When I came back to support him, people asked me, why was I supporting him when I didn't support him in the first round? I gave them my reason, which I noted earlier to everyone. Okay? So you must always leave room for tomorrow, whether you're advocating, whether you're solely and wholly political, especially in a place where we are all connected. Like for me, okay? My grandfather came from Putu, okay? So yes, my name is it's man or girl, okay? So, but you don't. So we are connected, okay? I have Uncle George show up to my house when I was growing up. When I came to America, I was wholly and solely into the Grand Jita community before it even got big. My uncle Steve used to take me to all of the parties. Okay, if you go back to the early 90s, the late 90s, you will see me when videos were made. I was this dry little light-skinned girl. My uncle that time, I think, was like a secretary or something there. But the thing is, we assume because my name, so automatically she's in the body. And so if I cry, I don't like her. If I'm gribble, I don't like her. I had people walk in my face when I was president of the community. Who the heck are you? Nima people think that this, that. We deal with you in my community. Look, Mr. So, if I first see you, and I first and foremost see you as a Liberian, and as a man, as a brother, as an uncle, we will start from there. But there are conversations that need to be had. The conversation about actions and consequences. The conversation that needs to be about the killings that took place in Liberia, that 250,000 lives were taken, the murder of our people. It does not matter how uncomfortable this is. We must face our past and able for us to forge forward, okay, to leave a better Liberia for our children. You see what is happening? What is happening in Liberia? Huh?
Surprisingly, surprisingly, this is what I have issued. Dr. Weah, he was one of those during his campaign when he was working towards the presidency. He came out exactly his position with respect to the World Economic Council, what he want to do. Now, the very opposition, the fourth group, plus the 11 Rainbow Coalition, are yet to see anybody to come up with a definitive position as to why this is what we want to do. And so that's the tones of the politicians always play those sort of softball and play into the narrative of the electors for potential political office, where we'll see a definitive position, because this is something you have called for and you have been calling for it. All of us are calling for it. Look, people must be held to accountable. They must pay the consequences, all right? They must be, and none of these people are not even showing remorse to come out to say, We regret what happened because of X, Y, Z, but we are sorry. There is always a justification when you call the government people to give a justification of their action. You call the opposition. Okay, yeah. Why you're talking now? The other people did it this time around. You didn't talk. This sort of back and forth blame game here is in both sides. Where we see or where you call
so Mr. So, and that's where I keep bringing us back. There's only one government at a time. For me, I don't want somebody to tell me because you want my vote that you're going to support War and Economic Crimes Court or for justice.
I understand one government,
okay,
but they are seeking for state power. We also need where they stand on critical issues.
So for where I stand, what I understand so far with the man that I support, he had always said, because here's where the recommendation of the TRC, the one thing that we need to look at, right? And so there's so much here to talk about, and we're not even going anywhere. And the time is almost
replay. We can't talk all today. We got to leave us.
Because we have the referendum coming up. We have where the proposition also coming up. Okay, and we have a lot of loose.
They're not even talking about. Nobody talking about everything being crowded for different things.
You know what? I need to back up. I need to come back to you, Mr. So. Okay. I want to say thank you. Let me first come back. That should have been my first thing. Okay. Because you know what? We that sit here, people don't understand what it takes. What it takes to do research. What it takes to defend your country and try to redirect your nation. Even if people think sometimes you're biased because that's from your vantage point how you see stuff instead of finding a medium. I want to say thank you because what you do day in, day out, you are awakening our people. That's enlightenment. And that is the most powerful investment that any nation can make. In South Africa, at the entrance of the university, they say, if you want to kill a generation, stop educating them. You want to kill the nation, don't educate your population. Okay? Let me say to you for the work that you do day in, day out, while you still have to feed your family, where I know people don't support because maybe you are not able to use the word that they like or they don't like, or you don't stay the size that they want you to take. But I want to say to all of the people who get even those who just support, to say thank you. I needed to say that I'm grateful for you because 3 years ago we were here. 4 years ago, from the other spectrum, we were here. We may not have been on the StreamYard or on Zoom, but we were on a listserv.
Right.
We were working in our community. It means you love your country and your people as much as I do, but we have different perspective, and we must respect that. But I wanted to stop and tell you that I respect you and I appreciate what you do. I didn't want to forget before I leave. There's so much we can talk about. So let's continue the conversation, however you want to put it. But first, I wanted to acknowledge, because gratitude is very important.
It's okay. We signed off for it to do this. That's part of it. We don't expect anything reciprocal to be like a package or so. Not. You know, one of my professors said, you want to be a journalist, you want to be in the thing. You want to be rich, don't come into this business here. So I know Clark is eating here. So you have stuff to do, and we're going to have you here. Who is the alternative in terms of the political process in Liberia? I know that's a big one that I put in this sort of calabash here. It is not on purpose to dash this here, but I see the passion in you, the convictions, your tireless effort to loud out your voice, to speak about the issues in the country. And that's quite, and it's frustrating. And that's why for us here, we don't play into the narrative of people with the hope that, okay, I'm going on LPR and this is what I want to hear. Then you miss the mark. Because our job, we need to tell people what they need to know. That's why quality is more matters to me than the quantity. I'm not looking at like whoever. No. Because if you have 10 reasonable people and minister to them, or when like a preacher man, it's better to have 10 people when you minister that war will go for. Or when you have thousands of people, there are people that are beating drum. The people get, Labra men say their shala. They get their shala on their coat when they pass talking, they take it. Waste his breath, How
Right.
do you think we can come to a resolution with all of this bickering that is ongoing here? Where can we sit to have a conversation as a Liberian?
Here is what I'm going to recommend. Okay. And I will answer your question earlier where people ask you, where do I get my energy? When you have a calling, I tell people advocacy is a conviction. It's not a competition. Okay. When you have a calling, I am a God-fearing woman. When you have a calling where in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, God wakes you up and tells you, you must act. Someday I want to wrap my head and sleep. Okay. But my soul is touched and I must move. Okay. Even at work, the time I would take to take a break, and I think there's a child that's been threatened, I must speak to it. I must educate the people. I grew up, I come from a family where the women from my mother, my mother, older sisters weren't allowed to go to school because women were considered other people's property. Whatever they had to spend it on the boys. Okay. My mother was the first to actually go to school, send herself to school as she was having her children. So she emphasized education. She emphasized the need to speak up. It emphasized the need to be a ladder for other people to stand on. She emphasized the need for you to walk in the door, even if it's dark, find a light lighted and let other people find their way. So you can't stop. That's where I get my passion from. Even if I'm blocked, I found a means to do that. Now, we need to come together. But one thing that you talk about quality, I do not particularly believe an ego need to be your crow just to get the job done. No. An ego must always be an ego. An ego is the most powerful bird God ever created, just as the lion is in the forest, just as the whale is in the sea. You cannot tell a whale into a dolphin. It is a whale.
Right.
A whale. And it must be that. The Bible tells me two cannot walk together unless they agree. Even in the days of the journey of the biblical turned people of the way that today we call Christianity, right? John, Barnabas, Paul, they had an argument. And they had to split because they were not in agreement. People will come and say, "Sis, yeah, you are our mother," and so and so. People have given opportunity to. But if you fool me once and you fool me twice, and I allow you to fool me 3 times, then something is wrong with me. Especially, no disrespect, as an informed, well-traveled, educated. You see, education does not mean particularly having a degree in a classroom. Being well-rounded with knowledge and being experienced, then I'm supposed to be leading the young ones and I'm not. So there's a problem. So you, me, even if we disagree, which we do at times, which we have at times, many times, and it's okay. It's good for the soul. For intellectualism, for intellectual people, it is good to have different opinions and still be able to find a common ground and see how we can build our nation. So people with integrity must come together and find a way forward. But Mr. So, we must talk about the referendum. We must talk about the what the other one? What the other one?
What the?
There are 2 going on. Proposition.
Yeah.
Yes.
If were you in?
Huh?
Yeah, I don't want to keep you. I know there's a time step. I don't want to keep you above that time here. I will ask you the last question here, because what I try to do now, I try to reach out to these people with different political sessions. And it's good to support people. But I also come to realize most of these people, and even folks that does the talking for the CDC and for the opposition, I find it very difficult to comprehend their message. They do not focus on the agendas of their institution. And the same thing goes to the opposition people who talks for them. If you are opposition, if I'm representing Cummings or whoever in the opposition column, if I can't draw that parallel line, if I can't set that demarcation to what makes my candidate most better than the other candidate, and I use 1 hour of my broadcast of George, where the kind of shoe George is wearing, that is insignificant to me. I must be able to tell my audience what my candidate, in order, because what I'm doing, I'm selling out my candidate to say, hey, this is the guy. I will point at the guy, other guy, ugliness, or things that he can do, and must be able to reference it. But I don't see that happen most of the time. So I'm troubled how this sort of persuasion process will really factor into the minds of the electorate. When opposition calling people tiny sedition, when sedition on the other side there, when I'm as ANC president, just before you respond, I can't waste my time to come. I must go to Prince Sherry in as much. Sometimes he talk crazy stuff. Go to Michael Gilmore, other people who talk whatever they want to talk. But I think that's where the soul winning is supposed to be. But it seems like I can't go. Those people will not understand. We take a decision. How can we get those people over? How can we make a one? I'm troubled with that.
And Mr. So, that's a great suggestion. I think people like Emmerich and those other people go on different shows. One thing though that we also must come to understand, that you talk about small sedition did not come from opposition. That word was created by Vendetta Patrick. Vendetta Patrick fought for this government for years to come to pass. He created that, and he defined what the meaning of small sedition. Okay. Now, yeah. So let's make sure of that. Let's make note of that. Before I say the last word, a gentleman by the name, I think Okoye, talked about comparing Liberia with America. People must understand America was not the world leader at a certain time. It was Macedonia. It was Italy, Rome. Okay. And it goes all the way back. What they've done is invest in their people, continue to evolve, spy on other people, and see what is good, bring it home. For you, you're on Facebook, you live in Liberia. A 23-year-old invented this. How do we learn from that? We require that research and development. We cannot limit ourselves to Liberia alone, especially those of us who have traveled. To say Liberia is not America. America was once like Liberia in the 20s, from 1920 to the Dust Bowl, where people could stay in line, could not find food to eat. Yesterday, when I came to this country, where I'm living was a farm, but people who have vision, okay, change that. We must create that place and tell our children, if America can do it, because they're human being, we can do it. That's fun. We are quick to compare and say, you know what, Ellie store, so I can see. Okay.
All right. Okay, yeah, I want to thank you so much. We get a lot to talk. We're going to bring other people on the other side too to get their insight here. Quickly, yes or no, make a prediction for me here. Who you think going to win the seat in Moserado? The senatorial.
Well, who do I think will win? I'm looking at ADD to win in Montserrat. I am looking at, and that's some of the thing, Phoebe Hendren to win in District 9. I'm not sure. I'm looking at Simeon in Cape Markante to win. I'm looking at Bob Charles in, I think it's in Sandra to win. There's Eric Deco. The Thai one way. Here's why I'm going to say this. These people should be given an opportunity. These are people who support the War and Economic Crimes Court. These are people who want to do what is right, who have their own things going for them, you know, that can actually stand up to this government. And they must win.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I want to thank you so much for sharing your Thursday afternoon. I'm looking forward to having you here. We're going to have this sort of conversations ongoing. We just set the table. It's just time to dish up, and then our time is over. But I'm going to have you here again so that you will finish the dinner table for us.
It is an honor, Mr. So. It is an honor. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. Please share the video. Let's get the message to the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right, folks, that does it today. There's a double package here on the Liberia Public Radio at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be hosting the former managing director of the Liberia National Port Authority, who is now the current managing director of the National Housing Authority, Madam Cecilia Coffee Brandt will be my special guest. She's currently in the USA. We're going to be tapping into her expertise to get us out of the story, what is happening with in the housing industry in Liberia. Cecilia Coffee Brown will be my guest right here at 4 o'clock today, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, I'm Afonso Z, and so we'll say thank you to the station manager, Nintendo Cryport, for making sure that our audios and everything is okay here. Let me return here to our own county, Nima County, as she to form part as she's make herself available here this. What a beautiful music there from Nima County by Elijah Daniels. I will say thank you so much, Lofa Julius. Thank you, and all of my viewers. I'm going to be back here 4 o'clock, and I'm going to be hosting Cecilia Coffee Brown, is the managing director of the National Housing Authority, former MD of the Gateway to the Liberia Economy. We're going to dive into a little bit of that before we do that. Until then, folks, I'll catch you later on. Thank you so much for sharing your afternoon with us. Thank you. Bye-bye.